So I've literally looked for this comment. I had planned on answering it, and I don't know, like, it literally just disappeared. So I was thoroughly looking for this comment. It's about setbacks. So this is, what's your name? Nakanwa Giviola. So Nakanwa Giviola is asking, I had got okay like a month, but now I feel symptoms are back. Raise your hand if you have experienced such kind of thing, like you have been okay for a particular period of time, then all of a sudden symptoms are back like they never left. I personally experienced such a thing, and it was, when I used to have it. They are actually called setbacks. These periods of, you are feeling good for a certain period of time, and you think, okay, I'm actually getting better, I'm actually getting my life back. Then all of a sudden, boom, the panic attacks are back, the heart palpitations, you're feeling so low, sadness, depression, everything. Like the symptoms are back like they never left. You feel like you're back to square one. You feel like you're actually dealing with the symptoms for the first time. That's actually called a setback. And people who don't know about anxiety, people who have not, learned about anxiety, people who don't understand anxiety, they think that their life is over. They think that, you know what, they have not, all the work they have been doing has probably been thrown on the drain, and like they're back to square one. They have to deal with anxiety afresh, and that's not the case. That's not the case. That's why I insist on you learning about anxiety, understanding what's happening. I personally have not met someone who has, who is struggling with anxiety, or people who have, recovered from anxiety, or even my clients. Most of them always have a setback, or rather, all of them have always have a setback. I've never met someone who doesn't have a setback, and setback is part of the anxiety journey, because your brain just wants to test. Setbacks are like an exam. Your brain just wants to test. Is he or she still afraid? And the brain sends you more adrenaline, the stress hormones, just to see if you are afraid. And if you don't respond with courage, if you're still responding with, panic, if you're still responding with fear, then it literally means that you are, because the way you have asked this question, this means that you're still fearful. This means that you're still, you're still fearful of anxiety, and therefore more adrenaline, more cortisol, more of you getting afraid. So therefore you are still afraid of setbacks. I personally dealt with countless setbacks, because I thought that setbacks are maybe 1, 2, or 3. I got a lot of setbacks, and still I stopped counting. I got countless setbacks. But when I understood that setbacks are also part of the recovery journey. Recovery is an up and down affair. It's not a straight line. Today you might feel, okay for a month, then next week, boom, you have to deal with, the symptoms again. But if you understand that this is still anxiety, I still have anxious energy within me, then setbacks is just a name. This is just anxiety that you have to deal with the way you have been dealing with anxiety always. Recovery from anxiety is 2 steps forward and 1 step backward. Once you understand that setbacks don't mean that you're back to square one, recovery is an up and down affair, and you are gonna make a couple of steps forward and some steps backward. Then you know that setbacks are part of anxiety recovery, and you have to, people literally deal with them, and you deal with them the same way you deal with anxiety. Setbacks should not weigh you down. You are not back to square one. All the work you have been doing is not thrown in the drain. You are simply dealing with setbacks, which are normal part of anxiety.